Hello again. This is a Normal Onion and the Adventures of Orville Milam. Starting off day 8, we wake up to stormy weather after deciding not to attend yesterday's air show. Orville eats his Wheaties before heading out towards the police station to nab some more pew-pew sticks and maybe some nightsticks too. The fight got a bit hairy at some points, but we cracked open the armory door and made it out of the station with a variety of ammo, some door hinges and doorknobs, and a few shotguns and pistols. Further down the road is a line of shops along the main highway. The one I'm most interested in at the moment is the bookstore just next to the clothing store. Thankfully, the front of the store is mostly devoid of zombies and I have no trouble making my way in to bolster my literature collection. On a side note, sneaking up behind zombies and pushing them over never gets old to me.
Hello there.
Unfortunately, the bookstore didn't have the How to Use Generators magazine or the latest Goosebumps book, so I added to my skill book collection. There were plenty more zombies down this back road, all of whom I'm guessing collectively wanted to avoid the highway as it's normally crowded. Completely understandable, I decided to double back, stop by the diner for some coffee, and grab some digital watches before making it back to the rusty rifle to add to my arsenal with the police station loot. While I'm here, I dismantled some digital watches from Electrical XP and Scrap Electronics. These will be useful for generator maintenance later on. We also catch an exposure survival episode where Dean tells us about making rain collectors while I start reading Carpentry Volume 4. I spend most of the time reading and setting new goals for myself. After some thought and several pages later, I start prepping the Jeep to make my way to the ever-lovely town of Rosewood. One reloading level later, Orville hits the hay and we move on to day 9. Day 9 starts off with us gunning it towards the crossroad just south on the Muldraw Highway. I like to check here for any decent vehicles that I can commandeer or to escape the helicopter event since there aren't usually too many zombies around the area. There was a decent looking car, but I couldn't find the key for it, so I moved on to some warehouses just to the west of the intersection to check the parking lots there. But none of the vehicles particularly interested me. With that, we're driving straight to Rosewood. The first building we come across is the gas station, which is where I'll be staying for the duration that I'm here. With a new customer rolling into the town, the people of Rosewood prepared a lovely welcoming party for Orville. A little bit of clever maneuvering to mitigate the sensory overload later. I return to the Jeep, and Orville starts chugging down vitamins like Beavis going through that old lady's purse. Before returning to the party, I decided that it was best to check if this place had an alarm, grab a few snacks, and clear it out to be rewarded with the last auto maintenance manual I needed to complete my collection. Some sleepy partygoers later, we put up the barricades, and this is where we learn Orville's a wizard because not only can he drive nails straight into solid glass, but he can also suspend things in midair with them. The rest of the night was spent with reading, followed by reloading training until 1:30 AM. Since I came in on a stormy day, the welcoming party wasn't able to bring out the smoke machine for my wrestling intro that they originally planned, so here it all is. At the very least, the people of Rosewood know how to keep a party going, and there was a nice after-party turnout where the extra levels of short blunt really showed its worth here. Slowly advancing down the road, I stop at just the right time to avoid adding a new hood ornament to the Jeep and find two Spiffo vans in great condition. I mark them on the map and check some of the other parking lots in town before I hit up the bookstore. Like Muldraw, this place didn't have the Generator magazine or the Very Hungry Caterpillar in stock, so I drove down a little ways to the Zippy Market to check there. While I didn't find the magazine, there were a plethora of maps of the main towns which you can take a quick look at to add to your map. I'll go over the colors of the map really quick here. Blue/purple buildings are schools, churches, fire, and police stations. Green buildings are stores of some kind ranging from grocery stores, gas stations, gun stores, etc. Black buildings are factories, warehouses, and storage units. Orange buildings are residential. Yellow buildings are food service places, bars and entertainment spots like movie theaters. Cyan buildings are generally places like motels or hotels. Pink buildings are medical facilities like hospitals. On the topic of blurple buildings, I pay a visit to the school library and find everything but the Generator magazine. Oh well, at least the smoke machine cleared up, so I took this time to drive down to many a Zomboid player's favorite base location, the Rosewood Fire Department. While there weren't any fire department trucks and no luck on finding a sledgehammer here, at the very least I know where I can stock up on some melee weapons. I also raided the police station while I was down here. I returned to the gas station, and along the way I towed one of the Spiffo vans back with me. With the van's larger capacity, our Jeep gets emptied out and I do a quick perimeter check to find the shady deal convention happening behind the gas station. This is the worst venue to hold these things. It's like one of the first places the police would look. As Orville is an upstanding citizen, he dispenses some justice of his own. With a successful drug bust, we celebrate with a sip of beer and fall asleep at 2 AM. Feeling great after that successful drug bust coupled with a bit of sure why not mindset on this recording session, I can describe day 11 in one clip.
Guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang!
Needless to say, I wouldn't recommend doing this if you're still learning the game. With several boxes of shotgun shells in the back of the Spiffo van, I headed towards the prison where I had hoped to quietly break into the armory in a small offshoot just outside of the main facility. But, well, I'll just let this play out to some music. After violating the Geneva Convention and Orville's sense of smell, I browsed through the armory for shotgun shells and decided to make a beeline towards the prison library after finding a key on a zombie that tried to sneak up on me. With a hammer in hand and the dark narrow hallways of the prison, I take advantage of the one-handed nature of short blunt weapons by having a flashlight in my offhand. Once in the prison library, there it sat near the end of the room. The generator magazine. With a zombie banging on the window, peering into the chamber of knowledge like a disturbed treasure guardian, there certainly wasn't time to marvel at it then and there. I retreated back to the guardhouse and armory to take the rest of the ammo and handguns that were stored there back to the van. Back at the gas station, I consolidate all of my 9mm pistol magazines and read the sacred text before falling asleep. Starting up day 12, I almost forgot to hit record, and the protagonist of this story is taking off back towards Muldraugh with the sacred texts and pew-pew sticks in tow. While he does that, I pondered about the little segment I had about the maps and haven't really shown you my current world map. That being said, here's a screenshot of the map project website with what I've currently explored versus the rest of the map up to this point. Upon returning home, I offload everything, putting the shotgun and the generator mag on the bar counter to be displayed like trophies. With newfound knowledge of generator operation, I drove down to the storage units where I remembered that I had left generators in there for future use, and the future is now. After arriving though, and seeing how many zombies had respawned since my trip to Rosewood, I probably should have at least taken them down to the rusty rifle. After some melee, I figured I'd ride off the high of fighting the Horde for a generator magazine on day 11 and pulled out the M9 pistol. I had some ammo to burn, and while I wasn't at the aiming level I would be comfortable using a handgun normally, there were plenty of low fences around the storage units to lure zombies over for easy headshots while they're on the ground. In hindsight, I simply should have lured the zombies away from the storage unit and left them with the Lorax, but I figured I'd get some aiming and reloading experience with a gun that makes slightly less noise than the shotgun. After grabbing both generators, I drop one off at the bar and one at the gas station. I set up the gas station one for whenever the power inevitably shuts off, and after checking the truck in front of the VHS store for a sledgehammer, I decided to do a little drive around to remember where things were. Most notably, I drove past the liquor store, which will have Molotov supplies, and another storage unit in town. There was also the first safe house in this run, where the zombies have decomposed to reveal that there were skeletons this whole time. The rest of the night was spent cutting trees down to make stairs with, and reading Carpentry Volume 4 until 1 AM. On day 13, there was more woodcutting to be done and carpentry to train to level 7. At level 7 carpentry, you can make the superior ring collection barrels, which can be plumbed from a higher floor to a sink, bathtub, or toilet with a pipe wrench as long as the barrels aren't directly above the appliance to be plumbed. I started the frames for a wall around the front of the bar to make leaving a little bit safer, and then I remembered I should actually check the roof of the bar to see if it counted as solid flooring according to the game. Using the Walk To function from the right-click context menu, you can check for holes in the roof, as the tile will be red if your character can't walk on something. With that tidbit of knowledge, the front part of the roof, where it slopes downward, was not counting as solid ground, so I built some wooden flooring to save myself some broken bones. As the rooftop counts as outdoors, I stick the generator out there so as not to kill Orville with the fumes when the time comes to turn it on. Almost immediately after setting up the generator, rain started to fall, and I get back on track to reach level 7 carpentry to hopefully capitalize on the rainfall by finishing Carpentry Volume 4. In this moment, a combination of me having Armored Core 6 still fresh in my mind just before recording this gameplay and not remembering where I put trash bags that I've been collecting along the way up to this point, leads me to skipping over the trash bag that's been holding 8 other bags that I've had this whole time. Thankfully, there were just enough trash bags close by that I could make 2 rain collectors with. As the rain intensified, Orville quickly popped in an episode of Woodcraft into the fancy built-in VCR. Knowing that he can see Tool Time Tom anytime, any place with the convenience of VHS tapes pushes our hero to level 7 carpentry and we get rain barrels on the roof just in time. Now all that's left is to find a pipe wrench that I spent the rest of the night looking for to no avail. After a quick beer, a smoke, and refilling my bottles with what little water was left in the sink and toilet, we conclude day 13. With a new goal in mind to find a pipe wrench, which while I'm writing this, after some thought is probably honestly sitting in my first survivor house somewhere. Instead, we go for the smaller set of tool warehouses nearby to see if I can find one in there. Orville needs more nails anyways, so we grab those while we're here along with an extra wood axe. I also take a sandbag, which I'll empty out if I want to fill it with dirt for a rooftop garden. Wanting to be thorough, I empty and dismantle a crate that's blocking access to 3 crates sitting in a corner. This proves to be one of the best decisions I've made as I not only find a pipe wrench, but also the fabled sledgehammer. This stroke of luck was complemented by the sickest drift I've done so far this run. On to the bar of fame the sledgehammer goes. There were also enough garbage bags from that warehouse to make another rain collection barrel which is close enough to the sink to plummet. I wasn't sure what to do with the sand, so I figured I might as well align it with where I might put a large wooden gate leading into the parking lot. While I could have done more base building, I go off and take a stroll down to the trailer park nearby to train short blunt proficiency and nimble. I also raided the cabinets for food, found a rubber duck which I will name Skittles, and steal a garden gnome. One of the trailers had a gun case that contained the big iron, and on my way out I figured I'd take the lawn flamingos too. The more the merrier, as they say. Seeing as I haven't finished Mechanics Volume 1, I spend the time finishing the book before starting the long process of training mechanics by uninstalling and reinstalling various parts. You can only gain experience from this process every 24 in-game hours on each part that you replace. While I could take the beat-up car in the parking lot and fail the skill check for faster experience gain, I plan on living for the long haul anyhow, and I'm not in any particular rush. On top of that, there is also plenty of cars in the parking lot to gain more experience per day with, so the grind really won't be too bad. After the mechanics checks, I cut some more trees, check the weather for tomorrow, and crack open a celebratory beer before putting myself to sleep reading Foraging Volume 1. Oh hey look, there's some new Moodles in this episode. Our first new guest is the Boredom Moodle. This one pops up if you spend too much time indoors or idling a car while not doing anything super exciting like reloading training or reading skill books. While this doesn't have an immediate effect on your character, it can lead to unhappiness eventually. Later stages causing you to become unhappy even faster. This can be dealt with by entertainment media, simply going out for a nice walk, or making your character panic. In this episode, we found ourselves a new friend in the form of the Drunk Moodle. This is caused by drinking the happy juice in a larger quantity. This Moodle will delay your driving inputs and tire out your survivor faster in solo play. It also has the positive effect of lowering your character's panic and pain levels. No hangover cures here, just give it some time and you'll sober up. The other Moodle we've met is a Moodle often tied to one of my favorite questions from the PZ community. Why am I queasy? The sick Moodle, not to be confused with the cold Moodle, and sometimes referred to as the queasy Moodle, is one of the most notorious ones to come across. This one is often tied to being infected with the zombie virus. It also pops up if you smoke without the smoker trait, food poisoning, tainted water, and being near several zombie corpses since I imagine rotting flesh isn't exactly a glade-worthy scent. Now if this was caused by a zombie attack, well, you've got about 3 in-game days to make the most of your time. Food poisoning and tainted water can be taken care of by eating lemongrass, which can be found via foraging if you have the Herbalist magazine or trait along with staying well fed. In the case of smoking, as long as you don't chain smoke several sticks in a row, you'll be fine with a little bit of waiting. With these zombie corpses, as long as you're on a different floor or stay far enough away from the corpse piles, this Moodle will go away in due time. And that's a wrap for this installment of Orville Milam's story. The second week of Vanilla Zomboid is one of my favorite parts of the game, as civilization slowly collapses with TV stations and shows slowly going off air, and the infrastructure such as water and power starting to go out. What was your first reaction to the power and water going out? Let me know in the comments below, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, much love, many thanks for your support, and have a wonderful day.